Hi everyone, I'm Gil Raviv. Welcome to my session, Know Your BI Audience. If you are part of the Power BI community for more than 3 years, you may know me as a former Microsoft MVP and the author of a Microsoft Pressbook. I started my career as a software developer in the cybersecurity industry and moved to product management roles. In 2013, I switched from cybersecurity to business intelligence and joined Microsoft Excel team to help shape the integration of Power BI in Excel 2016. When Power BI was released, I decided to move to consulting. The magic of Power BI was so empowering and I loved delivering value to customers with its magic. In the last 8 years, I led global BI practices in Avanade and AWS and helped Fortune 500 enterprises in their data and AI journey. And today, I'm the founder of DataChant Consulting, and I recently launched BI Pixie, which is a product that was inspired from my experiences in both consulting and delivering of dashboard and product management, where I measured the performance and the effectiveness of digital products. In this session, we will discuss the challenges in delivering effective dashboards and the current gaps to measure effectiveness. I will introduce you to new ways to know your BI audience and measure the effectiveness of your dashboards. And I hope you will get some inspiration from this session to start looking at engagement, adoption, user satisfaction to measure dashboard effectiveness. After we discuss the theory, we will move to demos of BI Pixie and you'll learn the many ways it can help you solve your challenges in dashboard delivery. And at the end of the session, I will share a link where you can get a free POC of BI Pixie with my support. I will be very glad to have a conversation with you and help you get better understanding of your BI audience and measure the effectiveness of your reports. Shall we start? Let's first talk about you and your role. You are a BI professional, right? And you are already making an impact, perhaps a lot of impact in your organization. So congrats, you made it. Here are some examples of the impact you make. Your team delivers mission-critical dashboards, or you oversee multi-year BI migration programs from legacy reports to Power BI. You may lead a center of excellence promoting self-service BI and support hundreds or even thousands of business users. You own 7 digits analytic projects with multiple vendors that deliver Power BI reports across many projects and different business units. Or you lead the governance and administration of Power BI in your organization. If any of those examples above fit your job description, then I'm sure you will agree that the success is not always easy. We all have challenges in our role. Here are a few very common examples. The adoption of our dashboards is not as we expected. There isn't enough feedback from the end users. It is difficult to have a good dialogue with the business stakeholders about requirements. Many times they just end up asking you to dump the data to Excel. And the technical team keeps chasing for performance issues and maintenance instead of delivering new value to your end users. You just have a never-ending backlog of issues. You need to fix bugs and add new features and support your audience, but you are missing the data to make informed decisions on how to prioritize all the tasks that you have for your team. And there is always the issue with the costs. The costs are high and the talent is not always available. You need to bring vendors to help you delivering your reports. And it's even difficult sometimes to measure the effectiveness of those vendors. And then getting future investment needs a lot of convincing, especially when you don't have good measurement for the return on investment. It's just too difficult to measure. How can we solve these challenges? Well, you may say, I handle these challenges one at a time. That's fine. It makes sense, but these challenges never go away, right? We need to start thinking about them strategically. And I think that if we start measuring the effectiveness of our dashboards, we will be more effective also in solving these challenges. I think that measuring the effectiveness of our dashboard is not easy. There is this saying that the cobbler or the shoemaker walks barefoot. In this analogy, we are like a shoemaker, and the shoes, these are the dashboards that we make. We spend so much time and effort and resources in making great shoes for our clients, but we don't have the time or the budget to buy the materials to make shoes for ourselves. We end up walking barefoot. What can we learn from this analogy? Do we lack the money and budget to build our own dashboards? Or is it something else? How come we cannot build a dashboard that will measure the effectiveness of our dashboards? Perhaps it's all a matter of awareness. Do we have a measurable value for our dashboards? What is the return on investment of our dashboards? Well, it turns out that there is a measured return on investment for our dashboards. In research by Nucleus, they find out that organizations return $6.2 for every dollar they spend on analytics technology. And that spend led to 10% increase in annual revenues. Then, according to a specific research on Power BI by Forrester in 2020, 63 companies in the research returned $4.66 for every dollar they spent after the first 3 years. It is basically 366% return on investment. That led also to 2.5% increase in operating income for those companies. Newer research by Forrester from last year found that Microsoft Fabric customers gained $4.79 for every dollar they spent on Fabric. So this is a significant thing. Our dashboards and analytic products are not a commodity. Since these products generate outcome, we better have some measurements on their effectiveness to optimize the value they bring to our business. So by now, by looking on actual measurable return on investment from analytic products and dashboards, I think we established the motivation to look at our Power BI dashboards as products. We want to be able to measure them in the same manner we measure any other operation and products in our organization. How can we do that? Well, we don't need to spend resources and time to approach it as research companies like Forrester. It just doesn't make any sense, because measuring the actual return on investment is very difficult. How can you tie your effort and the experiences that you deliver in your dashboards to actual revenues? To research that and to associate between the two must take a lot of resources, and that's something that Forrester can do and share with the community, but you would not do that on every dashboard that you deliver. This is not scalable. However, it will be easier to focus on direct metrics that we can measure and use them to attribute the effectiveness of your dashboard to business value and factors of success. So the opportunity here is clear. If we treat our dashboards as digital products, we can start measuring their effectiveness. Let's see what tools are available for us today to measure effectiveness. As you'll see soon, we can measure efficiencies rather than effectiveness in our use cases. But let's just go over the main items that you have. In Power BI and Fabric, we have 5 different tools that you can use. The first one is Power BI Usage Metrics. It was designed for BI developers, and you can run it at the workspace level. Let's just take a look. So as a Power BI developer, I can go to my workspace and then select any of the reports to find the View Usage Metric report. I'm clicking on this one, and Power BI will generate the usage metric. Let's open it up. So you can see here I have the usage metrics. In this case, it measures a specific report called marketing campaigns, and I can see how many report opens, report page views, and users over time. Now the thing here is that you can even unfilter the report and select all the other reports in the solution. So usage metrics will now show you the usage over time across all the reports in the workspace. In the report performance page, you can analyze the load time of reports, and you can have a list of the reports by the number of views, the percentage of views, and the number of users. So this is a basic tool in understanding adoption when you're focusing only on users that open your reports. If you want to view how many users are viewing individual pages, you can go to the report usage, and in the pages tab, you will see the individual pages for all the reports with the number of users, views, and the percentage of views. The second tool is the admin monitoring, and it helps administrators to monitor their Power BI tenant. Specifically, you can see the activities of the Power BI developers and which items are inactive or active. To measure the usage of your audience, you have only one metric, the report views. With that regards, usage metrics is better if you want to measure adoption, because then you can track how many report views and page views are being used, while the admin monitor only gives you the report views. The third tool is the Power BI activity logs. It is good for auditing purposes. You can use PowerShell or other tools to import the logs and see the activities of your BI developers and administrators. But it will not give you a lot about the end users, the ones that consume your reports. For those, you can only track the activity of report views, not even page views. So the usage metrics is better to measure adoption. The last two tools focus on performance optimizations. The Microsoft Fabric Capacity Metrics app is a Microsoft external app that you can install from AppSource, and it will help you monitor your capacities. The last item, Azure Log Analytics, is a very useful tool for experts, helping you debug performance issues, allowing you to pinpoint slow queries and associate them to specific visuals, reports, and capacities. This is an important tool to optimize specific issues that you have in performance, but it is not a simple tool to measure the efficiency and the performance over time without advanced skills. To conclude the discussion about the out-of-the-box tools, we can say that these tools are useful for administrators for auditing purposes and performance optimizations, but if you want to measure effectiveness and not just efficiencies, the single metric of page and report views that you have from these tools is not sufficient to measure effectiveness. And we will explain now why. Page view cannot provide you the full picture. Our dashboards are digital products. If we can track the usage of our users and their activity, we can start measuring engagement. Instead of looking at just page views, you can understand what they actually do within those pages. The thing is that with the out-of-the-box tools, such as the activity logs, you have a rich set of actions by developers, but not the end users. So any click, any activity of end users cannot be measured or provided using the activity logs or any of the other tools. The only exception, as we mentioned, is the page view. Collecting end users' activity can help you answer very common questions that will help you measure the effectiveness and know your audience better. The questions can be how your users interact with different visuals in your dashboards. Are the users passive or active? How long do they engage? How long do they stay in the pages? Where do they click? What are the things that interest them in the dashboards? The data they select, the filters, the slicers, which visuals they click. Are they satisfied with the experience you provide them? All those questions require to start tracking the activity of the end users. It's time to introduce you to BI Pixie. I'll show you how it can track end users' activity and measure the effectiveness of your dashboards by looking at multiple dimensions. In this demo, we will go through engagement, adoption, user satisfaction, performance, and design impact. You will see how all these aspects help you measure the effectiveness and help you deliver better dashboards for your audience. Let me first explain how BI Pixie works, because after all, if we are into tracking activities that we cannot get out of the box from Power BI, it's important to understand what is the secret sauce that can make it happen. So BI Pixie is a technology that consists of 3 components that you can deploy on your own Azure tenant. The first component is the web service and storage. This component is a solution that is available on Azure Marketplace, and you can also take it from Microsoft AppSource depending on your decision in terms of the architecture. If you are into measuring the usage of many reports and end users, it is recommended to use the Azure version of BI Pixie. Otherwise, you would use the Power Platform version, which was designed for tracking fewer reports. The second component is the BI Pixie dashboard, which is your tool to customize the insights and build your own effectiveness metrics for your dashboards. It's also a great tool to give you a better understanding of your audience and how they interact, and we will show you that in this demo. The third component is BI Pixie Automation, which is an executable that you can deploy on a Windows machine as part of your application development process. So if, for example, your team uses Git to be able to manage your Power BI reports in the source control, or if you have any scripts or methodologies that will help you deploy your Power BI reports from development to production, you can use BI Pixie Automation as part of that processes, and BI Pixie Automation will scan your reports and add the tracking information. Let's explain it a bit in more details. So in your Power BI development environment, you have your Power BI reports. Once you bring BI Pixie Automation to access those Power BI reports, it will then scan them and instrument them. Once those reports are instrumented locally, they are being pushed to the Power BI production environment, and you can decide how to do that, either using your own scripts or to use BI Pixie Automation itself to push the reports to your environment using the Git integration with Power BI workspaces. Now, after your Power BI reports are published in production and are already instrumented, when your end users, your BI audience, engage with your reports, and it doesn't matter from any Power BI client that they use and any platform, once they open reports and engage, the activity is sent to your Azure environment where you deploy the BI Pixie web service, and the events are then stored there on an Azure storage data lake. Now, if you would use the Power Platform version on a smaller scale, instead of an Azure function and a storage account, you would deploy BI Pixie on your own Power Platform environment. So these components will allow you to store your usage events in your environment and collect new events using Power Automate Cloudflow. And let's proceed now. When we have those events stored in your own storage, now you can use the BI Pixie dashboard and it will provide you all the insight and analysis on your usage, engagement, adoption, and all the other dimensions. So let's start the demo. So I'm here on Power BI in a workspace where I have multiple Power BI reports and the semantic models, and I would like to start collecting usage from those reports. So let's do that with BI Pixie automation. I configure BI Pixie automation to connect to the Power BI workspace on the left. On the right side, you can see the folder where I placed the automation, and now I run it. BI Pixie automation can use the Git integration of the workspace to fetch all the Power BI reports and semantic models, and now the instrumentation can start. Now BI Pixie automation scans all the report and their pages and analyze them and add the instrumentation, and then it pushes back the updates to the workspace. In your scenarios, you can decide if you want to use the Git integration with the BI Pixie automation, or you can use other tools, scripts, or manually and run BI Pixie on the local Power BI reports. Back in the workspace, I can see that my Power BI reports are ready, and I can now share them with my audience. Now let's switch role, and I'm now an end user. I'll open one of these reports, the marketing campaigns. You can see now that I'm in the first page, campaign performance. I can click on the second page or the third page. And let's see now how BI Pixie collects the page views from the audience. So here you can see that we have 3 events, and we have the information about the pages that I accessed. And you can see here more information, including my username on Power BI and the IP address that I'm using. Obviously, we want to learn more about our audience beyond just page views. So let's see how BI Pixie can do that. Back to the first page, you can see that I have 3 bookmarks. Let's click on bookmark 3. Now let's see how BI Pixie collects the data. And you see we have now a new event, and the event type is a bookmark. We can see the name of the report, marketing campaigns, and the name of the bookmark, bookmark 3, is provided in the event. Now let's try some slicers. So you see we have here a country slicer. Let's pick a country. I'll take UK, and you can see now when I refresh this table, there is a slicer event from now from the marketing campaigns report and campaign performance page. And the slicer event tells me that the country column that is part of the country codes table was sliced. The value that the user selected is UK. BI Pixie can be very powerful on even auditing what your users select and understanding different preferences as they slice and dice the data. Now let's try something else. So I have here a table with 3 items. You see we have hyperlinks in those. Those hyperlinks, when I click on them, will take me to some website. In this case, it will allow me to log in into another service. And I can go back to our table, and we see here that there is a link event. So the user clicked on something. We see the report and page, and we can see the actual link that was clicked. So this is a powerful event that can help you understand the engagement of your users as they click on different dynamic hyperlinks in your dashboard to navigate through other internal systems. Selection of data in any other visual is also supported in BI Pixie. I have here a bar chart, and I click, for example, on this bar, spammy content, and now we will be able to see that the selection of spammy content was reported by BI Pixie as well. Let's open another report and try it out. So I have here a COVID-19 report that is already instrumented. Okay. So I'm now on the global page. This is the second page of the report, and let's see if BI Pixie can help us understand some of the things that the user is selecting. So let's say I'm now an end user and I have here different countries. What would happen if I will select one of them? Again, now it's not a slicer, just a table visual. So I can click on Switzerland and you can see that everything else was affected by my selection of Switzerland. And let's select another country like Japan. And let's select another country like Taiwan. And now let's see if our table collected this information. So we have here a VisClick event here and here and here. And those events are showing you that we selected Taiwan from a table visual, table X, that's the technical name for the visual type. We have the ID of the visual, and we can see also that Taiwan was selected from the country column in world population. Earlier on, we clicked on other countries, so you can see them here as well, including Switzerland. Let's try now states in US. So I can select now Illinois. And let's see if we can see that also in the table of our collected events, and we can find Illinois in the events as well. Let me just show you another element that we collect. So if I go to the first page of the performance and KPI, you can see here one control that is very unique for our use case, which is not just to know our audience, but also to gauge their user satisfaction. Are they happy with this dashboard? So when we instrumented this report, BI Pixie added this control here at the top right for feedback collection. And if I'm very happy with this report, I can click on the smile, and you will see now that we collect this information as an event. So we have the feedback event, and you can see the smile icon is being collected in the data as well. And later you will see how BI Pixie dashboard provides you the insights on user satisfaction. It's time to move to BI Pixie dashboard. You can download it from Microsoft App Source, and I'll share the link in the end of the session. After you install the app, you will be able to explore the different pages with the demo data, or connect to your own storage account where you can start collecting the events from your audience. We will now go over the different dimensions that BI Pixie collects for you in order to understand the effectiveness of all your dashboards. We will start with the engagements and the activities. So you can see here on the right side, you have a funnel with all the different activities of your audience. Page clicks, visual interactions, slicers clicks, clicks on bookmarks, clicks on links, tooltip opens, and even the events where you drill through from one visual to another page. In Activity by Report page, you can check the types of activities that you have per report. So for example, my marketing KPI report has 100% page views. That report is passive. Nobody is clicking on anything. While the activity information can help us tell a story about our users and build personas and profiles by user, looking at the adoption at a higher strategic level can be done by starting to count how many users we have over time. In the report adoption page, we can look at the number of users per report over time by engaged users, passive users, new users, and last time users. Last time users engaged the reports but never returned since. An important metric of adoption is the monthly active user and the daily active user. In the user adoption page, you can compare between daily active users and monthly active users over time. By looking at the division between daily active users and monthly active users, you can understand the user stickiness in your dashboards. If you have high percentage of user stickiness, it means that a high percentage of your monthly active users keep coming and using your reports on a daily basis. And here we can see the user stickiness per report. The monthly active user is one of the most common KPI for product managers, product owners, measuring adoption of digital products. When you track monthly active users and daily active users over time, it will allow you to report to your stakeholders the success of your dashboards, their effectiveness. You can also report the monthly active users growth rate month over month and year over year. So in this case, as an example, in December I have 25% decrease of our monthly active users compared to December of 2023. Let's move now to user satisfaction. In the user satisfaction page, you can measure the satisfaction of your BI audience over time. You can take a look at every report in your portfolio and see what is the CSAT, the customer satisfaction of your reports. BI Pixie allows you to instrument feedback controls beyond just the smile and frown. You can also use the thumbs up, thumbs down, or customize the icons to any character. Another very interesting thing about user satisfaction is that you can now correlate user satisfaction with other activity and engagement that is collected by BI Pixie. In this case, we have a scatter chart where the x-axis include the average interactions per session, or the monthly active users on the x-axis, and in the y-axis we have the customer satisfaction, the percentage of users clicking the positive feedback controls, the smile or the thumbs up button. But there is so much more. You can look at user attrition and see over time what's the percentage of your users you are losing. And you can even select a specific month and find the specific users that are no longer active, including the number of days of their inactivity. And now I can approach them and ask them, what's wrong with my dashboards? Now when we instrument BI Pixie, when it scans your reports, it can collect all the visual information and the specific location of the visuals on the dashboard. So here in the heat map page, you can optimize the experience of your reports by looking in the wireframe of the visualization and see which visual gets the highest number of clicks. Remember the campaign performance dashboard? We now can see this is the layout of that report. And here I have the original report side by side with the heat map, and you can see these are the exact same layouts. And now remember, when we clicked in the country selector, we collected the events, and we can see now in the tooltip, when we click in the same area, we see how many clicks we had in the slicer and which values were selected. You can also go through the different pages in different reports, and you will see all the reports, and the report pages will be sorted by the number of clicks. When you select a specific page and you see its layout, you can identify not just the visuals that get the highest number of clicks, you can see which visuals are completely ignored. Those will be with the dark purple color. And you can also view the number of clicks by the type of the visual. So we have a line chart, a table, a scatter chart, a text chart, etc. I have so much more things that I can show you, and perhaps I will show you more in the live session right after we finish this recording. But let me just show you very, very quickly two more things. The first one is the performance analysis. BI Pixie can give you the opportunity, if you already use Azure Log Analytics, to analyze the performance and get new levels of insight. So you have also a heat map for the performance. In this case, the visuals are colored by their performance, and you have the different performance metrics from Azure Log Analytics that will allow you to see how slow are individual visuals or how much resources they consume, and specifically CPU time from your capacities. You can measure the performance by different functions like average, sum, or percentiles. You can see performance by its impact on engagement. So here on the x-axis, you can select one of the performance metrics, and on the y-axis, you will have engagement information, including the average interactions per sessions, or the average time in seconds that users stay in the page, and other engagement information. And now you can see how your different report pages are scattered across those two different dimensions. You can obviously select the specific pages by capacity, workspace, and reports. And then when you select a specific page, you will see the visuals by their performance that you selected. And that will give you the ability even to connect with your DAX experts and ask them to improve the performance of those visuals. And you have also the field names that are referenced in those DAX queries, the fields of measures and columns and their tables. In the performance timeline, you can measure the performance and your efficiencies over time. So if you have an expert optimizing your performance, you should be able to see over time a decrease of the load time, and that will help you also evaluate the effectiveness of your team in optimizing performance. You can see the performance by the users that are impacted the most, and then you can prioritize the optimization of the performance by the user. Or perhaps you can find out also that some users are consuming the reports in a very particular way, causing the performance issues. So by reaching out to them, you will understand better what needs to be optimized. Finally, the design impact page allows you to correlate between design metrics and engagement. Design metrics are divided into 3 scores: complexity, usability, and passivity. And those scores are calculated by a mixture of different counters that BI Pixie collects for you during the instrumentation, including the number of visuals per page, the number of bookmarks, the number of slicers, number of tables, and so forth. By looking at correlation between those design counters or the complexity, usability, and passivity scores, and the different engagement levels, you can isolate specific reports or pages that require design improvement. That's it. I completed the recorded demo, and you are welcome to use this link to download the BI Pixie dashboard and explore it on your own. You can go to bipixie.com to learn more about the product, or use the QR code or the second link to start a free POC and track 30 reports for 30 days, and I will be very happy to help you in person to support you. Stay online for the live Q&A session now, and let's connect on LinkedIn or email. Thank you.